What's up, guys? Ash here, and today we are going down the rabbit hole. Leton Superstar is considered one of the hardest classes to understand and master in all of Troubleshooter. And with that, I'd like to place a forewarning that for newer players, I do recommend that you go with Leton's Martial Artist. It's not subpar in any way. It is one of the strongest, if not the strongest tank in the game. Um, I highly recommend it, but I also recommend it because it won't give you the headache that this kind of class will. uh, Additionally, this video is only going to go over superstar basics. An advanced concepts video for this would probably take a few hours. So, with all that said, pop a volume and strap in because we're in for a wild ride. All right, so Superstar 101. First off, we are in the level 6 ordinary case, Fallen Leaves Park, and I highly recommend this map for just practicing and learning. It's the lowest level map. You can assign just Leton, you can send away the cops, and we're gonna start with the performance abilities and move from there. So, Leton can do one of 4 different types of dances. And so the first dance is called Powerful Dance. And for each level of Powerful Dance, you're going to increase your attack power by 20. Second one will be Delicate Dance, and you're going to increase your crit chance by 1.25% per level. Third one will be Cheerful Dance, which will increase the dodge chance by 1% per level. And then the final will be Fancy Dance. That'll increase your critical hit damage by 8% per level. So notice right now I have 0 of all these, so I'm not being affected in any way at the moment. Now, one of the most important concepts here is going to be ability rotation. So you guys can see that down here, Body Blow is now assigned to Powerful Dance, and Frost Crescent Kick is now assigned to Delicate Dance. Meaning, if I use Body Blow, it would increase the amount of Powerful Dance based on my performance level, which we'll get to after this. So right now, I'm going to do a back tumble in so that they can't move, and this is going to give me a Fancy Dance. So here we go, we're going to tumble.
Ready, start!
And this is going to take that Fancy Dance from 0 to 4. So what was increasing critical hit damage by 8 is now increasing critical hit damage by 32. And we're going to just start killing a few of these guys. But just so you guys can see, my attack power here is 1,660. So we're going to start doing some body blows. That's one. And you can see on the bottom left here that his powerful dance is going up in turn with each ability usage. So I just used 3 body blows, which all converted into 3 powerful dances. Now, I'm currently at performance level 4, which is the highest you can currently get in the game. Meaning, each time that you use that ability, it will go up 4 levels within its slot. So now that I have 12 levels, that's equivalent to 240 attack power. If you guys remember, I was at 1660. Now I'm at 1900. So that right there alone just put me into basically what's considered muscle training. So it's very powerful, and stacking these stats without actually creating coolness is one of the more advanced concepts that I'll go over at some other time. Okay, so let's touch on the performance level real quick. So by default, if you do, let's just say, a body blow with basically a completely clear board, your performance level will be 1. Now, Rising Star is going to push it up to 2. Dance 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 is actually going to push it up to 3. And then finally, the highest amount that you can get in the game, you'll have to use his Personal Mastery, God-given talent, and that will push it to 4. Alright, and this leads us into Coolness. Coolness is going to be attained by completing one of 4 special patterns of 4 continuous effects. So I'm going to put up a graph here. A will stand for Powerful Dance, B will stand for delicate dance, C will stand for cheerful dance, and D will stand for fancy dance. So coercion will be given anytime you have 4 of the same ability. So right here you see I've got body blow, body blow, body blow, body blow, and or the equivalent of powerful dance, powerful dance, powerful dance, powerful dance. And when you hit with coercion, this is one of my favorites, it's going to give contraction. And so contraction is a great ability because it's 1, a mental debuff, 2, it's going to shred a block, dodge, hit, and crit of nearby enemies at the start with a radius of 4 tiles, but that can expand via mastery slots. 2, explosion. So if the same 2 effects alternate twice, you'll get explosion. So right here, we've got, what is this? C-A-C-A, or in other words, cheerful dance, powerful dance, cheerful dance, powerful dance. And you can see it triggering explosion down there. And so explosion is going to give a AT reduction to that same radius for enemies, basically. The third pattern is called gorgeousness. And this will be, you'll get gorgeousness if the start and the end effect are the same. In other words, A, B, C, A, and that will trigger a chance to win to all allies within the actual radius. So right here we have 2, 3, and then right here you can see powerful dance, fancy dance, what is it, cheerful, and then powerful dance. So start and end are the same, which will trigger gorgeousness, and that's going to give chance to win to Leton and all surrounding allies. And then finally, continuous. This is probably the majority of the time going to be the one that you're going to want to try for. So continuous can be attained if every effect is different. An example, A, B, C, D, and that's going to recover action points. So right here, we've already got 3 slots. What looks to be B, D, A. And so if I taunt for C, so you got B, D, A, C, and that'll be 1 of each different type. And taunt is not taking any action points, so it's actually going to push me into 2 points, even though at the very start you can see I was down to 1. Okay, so if you actually create a coolness pattern, one of the special 4 patterns that just went over, that's going to give you a coolness point. And it's going to remove all of the previous performance effects. So, in example, let's say we had A, B, C, D for continuous. All 4 of those are going to be gone unless you have regular performance. And so with regular performance, if coolness is triggered, the last performance slot effect that composed coolness is maintained. So in that example that we're using with A, B, C, D, D would actually carry over and A, B, C would be completely gone, and you'd get a coolness point from it. Now, on top of that bonus is what's called a finishing move and or finale. And what that is if all performance slots are full, the following triggers according to the number of accumulated coolness before all slots are cleared and coolness is reset. So if you have at least 1 coolness and you end up activating finale, all allies in the radius of 4 tiles will reduce action time by 20, which is definitely good. At 2 coolness, all enemies are going to increase action time by 20. At 3 coolness, all enemies will trigger contraction. At 4 coolness, chance to win for all allies. And at 5 coolness, excitement is triggered. Now, important to note here, it will use all 5 of these at the exact same time if you're at 5 coolness or higher. So it will, reduce all allies' action time, increase all enemies' action time, contraction for all enemies, chance to win for all allies, and excitement for all allies if you have over 5 coolness and if they're within the radius. Now the 4 tiles doesn't seem like much, but it can be expanded with masteries, which is definitely good to know. I believe it is huge prosperity. Yeah, so you can expand the radius for sure, which is really great. So let's do a quick showcase here. We're going to reuse explosion. So right here in explosion, you can see there's what, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total slots that I've got at the moment, and it's using 5. Now I'm going to use warm up. This is going to use 6. And then of course body blow right here would be 7, and it would use all 4 and then sacrifice that for explosion while giving another point to coolness. Now this big blue cool looking Leton dude is the coolness counter. So I'm currently at 2. If I completed this explosion, that would push me to 3. But if I were to not complete explosion, let's say I did something different, like I threw in C here, so like another fish, and then I, threw in something else that didn't make a pattern, and I threw something else that didn't make a pattern. Once you get to this is what's going to trigger finale. In this example, 2 finale would be triggered. So I would basically get, AT reduction for allies by 20 and AT increase for enemies by 20. So to give you guys kind of a real world idea of how all these abilities stack in together, I'm on 50 Violent right now, and I have 3 Coolness, as you can see, and 2 slots taken by DB. So I'm actually going to do improvisational wrap up. And what that's going to do is give me DBD right here. You see that. Plus it's going to increase my coolness to 4, which is awesome. So it went from 3 to 4. We got the performance effect, and improvisational wrap up immediately goes into finale. So I'm actually going to do Cross Storm Kick, which is going to do DB into explosion. But here's the thing, explosion counts as the finale. So I actually got finish move plus 5, and of course from that, Leton gets excitement, all allies nearby would get excitement, all allies nearby would get AT reduction, all enemies nearby all got 20 AT reduction from the finale and coolness level, but they're also getting it from explosion. So they're getting negative 40 AT to everyone that you can see. They're also all getting contraction, which is that dodge, block, hit, crit, shred. Just total insanity. And because he used improvisational wrap up, he's actually going to get another turn on top of that. Okay, and we have the abilities section. So let's start with the basics. There are 2 different types of superstars. One is melee and one is a ranged ESP user. And so an ESP user might have a build that looks something like this. I am going to show you guys a melee build today. Both of them have their pros and cons. I'll leave that up to the player, but just keep in mind that they are very, very different builds. So for basic ability, what's nice about Superstar, you will have access to both Body Blow and Taunt. Taunt's going to give you block and dodge shreds, so this is great for bosses, on top of it being kind of an extra ability you can use to rotate as necessary. Body Blow, great ability, does count as a dashing, which is very important. And it also does knockback, so you can kind of trigger forestalments and stuff with this. So again, really great kind of just basic attack. For general abilities, I do recommend back tumbling and warming up. Warming up is probably Leton's strongest ability in the Superstar set, and I'll go over that in a bit. Back tumbling is nice. Of course, you can ambush people. It's movement ability, so that's always important. And I don't know, it tends to work better with the melee build. So you might be surprised to see Frost Crescent Kick as opposed to Double Wheel Kick or Twister. Both Twister and Double Wheel Kick have much better modifiers. You'll see the 125 plus 25% max. The problem with this is a lot of times if you're trying to run continuous on Leton, you're going to be working with one action point. So you'll notice these both Double Wheel Kick and Twister get 100% damage bonus, but only in still stance. So you won't be getting that damage bonus for starters. Secondly, you will not be able to move with these. So these are just, standing still attacks, and while Double Wheel Kick is pretty cool in that it does unavoidable, you will need to be standing next to them in order to use this. Versus Frost Crescent Kick counts as a dashing attack, so you can actually move and then hit. On top of that, it's 100% damage bonus to a target in exposed state, so generally you will always be able to connect with that. On top of that, Frost Crescent Kick acts similarly to the Black Clown Mask smash down attack, where they kind of get a few tiles away and then jump attack you. If you'll notice, you cannot forestallment on that, and this also goes for Wood Chop. It's like the ranged melee attacks or something like that. And that's what Frost Crescent Kick counts as. It's got an attack range of 3, and assuming you do the jumping portion of it, you will dodge, quote-unquote, dodge forestallments if you take them out. If they live, they will get their forestallment afterwards, but kind of interesting and neat to know. But yeah, this makes up such a huge part of the build. I think if you try playing around, you'll see the differences between the three, and you'll end up on this one every single time. So for overcharge, very simple. Frost Storm Kick will be your single target. Frost Mill will be your AoE target. The modifiers on Frost Mill are really bad, so you're only going to do really good damage if you bust through their block shred or block and land a critical. Versus Frost Storm Kick, doesn't really matter what you aim it at, it's going to take heavy damage. It's either going to die or be impulse fields. You're getting 100% bonus for exposed, 100% bonus for still stance, and a 50% critical hit damage increase. So both great abilities, both have their own particular use. Just keep in mind that Frost Mill, you're running with a 25% attack power modifier. Alright guys, so we are going to take a quick break and do some Jeopardy. So Leton just did improvisational wrap up. Obviously the slots are pretty filled up here, and he's currently running DDA, and I'm going to finish this out with Frost Mill. So it's going to be DDAC. And so my question to you is, what is this going to create? Is this going to A, do nothing, B, coercion, C, gorgeousness, or D, man, this is my first time even looking at Superstar. You crazy. And so, give you a few seconds. And so you're going to see a lot of stuff pop off, which is actually quite normal for a Superstar. But it's actually not going, if you said B, it's not coercion. Even though you are going to see contraction, that's from his coolness bonus at the time. It's not going to be gorgeousness, obviously not going to be D. So if you said A, it's not actually going to create anything. You would be correct, and that's certainly a possibility here for Superstar and Finale. All right, and finally we have the Mastery board. So this is the Hailstorm build. Take a look, take a gander. Feel free to pause, see what you would keep, see what you would throw out. For core offensive masteries, we're actually going to be taking Street Dancer. Street Dancer is great mostly because of improvisational wrap-up. So this is going to force a finale on the next turn, which is really cool. On top of that, upon using improvisational wrap-up, the accumulation of coolness will increase by 1. So if you use improvisational wrap-up during coolness 1, you'll have coolness 2, etc., etc. Which leads into the next core offensive mastery, which will be on core performance. So if Finale effect is triggered while the number of accumulated coolness is greater than 1, you recover an AP. So Improvisational Wrap-Up is going to trigger Finale, which is great. And you can only use Improvisational Wrap-Up with a coolness of at least 1. Now, of course, Street Dancer is going to make that 2, or 3 or 4 or 5 or however many you have at the time. But no matter what, this will trigger Finale, and you will recover 1 action point if you can use Improvisational Wrap-Up. So this is a great, oh crap moment where you think you screwed up your build, or, your continuous didn't work out quite like how you thought it would. This will definitely save your butt on numerous occasions, and you'd be amazed at what comes out of using this for sure. And then, of course, the ever staple one-shot, one-kill. For core defensive masteries, we're actually going to be taking Shadow of Light. Shadow of Light's particularly ridiculous because of Undiscovered Past and All-Rounder, and this is going to be a lot of your base stats on your character. All-Rounder is going to be in your health, it's going to be in your ESP, 300 of each. It's going to be in your hit chance, it's going to be in your crit chance, it's going to be in your armor, it's going to be in your resistance, it's going to be in your block, it's going to be in your dodge. Same thing with Undiscovered Past, you see it giving dodge there, it's going to give you 300 health. You're just going to see these 2 abilities all over your board, and they are absolutely stunning. Now, along those lines, you'll see Leton on Superstar has an incredible dodge chance. I'm running about 90% right now, and that's not considering any masteries in the background. But I will say, of course, God-given talent is great for a Superstar, and particularly useful if you're really cranking out, coolness and performance effects, and you've really gotten good with this. But once you hit about 75% dodge rate, I would also consider Acrobat. He will be dodging majority of the time, and so your AT will be really fast, and that's just totally insane. Now, for the other core defensive mastery, we are going to be taking Freezing Resistance Side Effect. So I want to explain this really quick so people understand. Freezing Blood, if you use an ice ability, you will trigger Freezing Blood. And if you get 10 stacks of Freezing Blood, then Leton dies, and that's the end of it. And what stops this from happening is Anti-Freezing Fluid. Now, basically, if you use 1 ice ability, you will use up 1 Anti-Freezing Fluid until when you completely run out, then you'll start activating Freezing Blood, which totally sucks. Most people are used to Leton on Martial Artist, and they have never had this issue before. But if you were to run a ranged ESP Superstar Leton, believe you me, you will blow through 30 anti-freezing fluids so fast. It's crazy. And so this is where the other personal mastery comes into effect. If you find that you're running, or if you don't have enough anti-freezing fluid, the high-end anti-freezing fluid is not bad. It's going to give you cauterize, basically, as well as an additional 30. I don't think it's completely necessary, as the freezing resistant side effect is also giving you an additional 30 anti-freezing fluid. So you could get a total of 90. There's also an item that you can use that adds it as well in the gear slot. But what's particularly cool about freezing resistant side effect is that enough rest when triggered from anti-freezing fluid is going to recover your health. Alright, so we're going to do a quick freezing resistant side effect showcase here. So I'm on 50 violent. Leton's going to move in to deal some damage. He's going to get suppressive fired, which of course he's going to dodge with an incredible 90% dodge rate, but the sniper is going to connect on him, and the reason why the sniper is going to connect is because of prior planning and predicted fire. But notice, now Leton is missing 139 health, or, what have you, and in order to activate freezing resistance side effect, you have to use an ice ability. Well, in the melee build, the only real ice ability is Frost Crescent Kick. Now, if you'd like to not use that, I recommend using Call of Ice. Now, Call of Ice is going to take your body blow from blunt into ice version. This is going to allow Leton to basically punch indefinitely with ice, and look at this, he's going to be activating freezing resistant side effect because of it, and along with that, healing based on it. So even though Leton took 140 damage, he's back to full. And again here for Stallment, Fire Support comes in, takes 131 damage, punches him, back to full. So this counts as basically like a life drain for Leton, and has so many great uses. And for core support masteries, we're actually going to be taking Dance, Dance, Dance. This is just makes up the backbone of Superstar, and I consider it mandatory. Cheerful Dance is going to decrease your AT by 10. Fancy Dance is going to increase your SB by 10. Powerful Move is going to give you a chance to win. Delicate Move is going to act as almost like a catharsis. So all of these work very well together, and even better if you're shooting for continuous. But as a whole, very important. We're also going to be taking Endless Training. It's all about the abilities when it comes to Superstar. And so this is going to make warming up and back tumbling and taunt take no action points. So you'll be able to use these at will, and this is pretty much mandatory. It's also going to give Frost Crescent Kick increased damage for exposed state, which is always great, of course. And then Frost Storm Kick and Frost Mill are going to be unavoidable. So this is totally mandatory. It's such a good ability mastery as a whole for Leton, especially on Superstar. We're also going to take Catharsis, even though Delicate Move is great. Catharsis, the cooldowns are usually around the number of 6 or so. So Catharsis is going to help, shred that down to, maybe 3 kills or something like that, depending on what you're doing. And it just plays into the build very well. Alright guys, and so we have the Hailstorm Spotlight. So we are on 46 Violent right now, and this is the Skull team. And just so you guys know, this is from my live stream on Twitch, so you're going to hear me say random things during it. Pay no attention to other me. Alright, so I've got Skull Piercer here over in the back, and one of the issues with fighting the Skull team is a lot of them have impulse fields, a lot of them have Skull Mark, a lot of them have, Sandcastle. There's so many abilities that the Skull team has where you can't just one-shot them. Cyan can't do it, Bianca can't do it. You have to slowly shred them down. And so this is a perfect spot to show off continuous. So if you can see right now, I'm kind of just cycling through my abilities and restacking continuous and restacking continuous. And I'm just trying to get Piercer down. I've already taken off his impulse fields. I've already taken off his mark. And something interesting to note right here, I'm actually going to use Excitement Potion because of the element that it is. I didn't want to use Improvisational Wrap Up yet. So even your potions have a use on Superstar. Every one of your abilities matters so much. So there I go, pop a potion, and then do Frost Crescent Kick, and that's going to give me continuous. And that's going to allow me to move back over to here. Now, of course, you guys can, pause this or go back and see what my original rotation is, but for the short version, you'll see is that it's going to be continuous into continuous into continuous. And even though they have, Skull Mark like right there, and impulse fields and all that stuff, Leton can do this indefinitely. And as long as you cycle your rotations accurately, man, it is insane. So right now we got what CBA. I just need to use D, but apparently I didn't want to do that yet because it would be improvisational wrap up. So I'm just going to lower my cooldowns by killing some of the regular dudes. So we have 3 bosses still alive here. You know, obviously they can take multiple hits still. So I need to be able to set up my rotation in that I can get kind of multiple continuous and or improvisational wrap up. And so right here, I believe I'm going to flip in. Yeah. And believe it or not, this is it. This is actually where Jeopardy comes in from earlier. So we're gonna do improvisational wrap up because I can't get continuous. Sometimes it happens like that, and that's the neat part about Superstar. You guys are gonna find that it's very, you know, free flowing, and if you really know what you're doing, you might just come out on top. So I've burned all my cooldowns right there, and so I'm ready to do warm up. Warm up is such a powerful ability. It is the strongest of all of his abilities because it resets all of your cooldowns, and that includes improvisational wrap up, which gives you a free action point for the most part. So I've already hit Eater and Slasher once, and they've or actually Slasher's been hit twice, but both of them have used their mark up. Crasher, I believe he's used his mark or his castle, but he can live an extra hit because of Sandcastle. So right here, I'm actually going to be doing D C D D only because of the area damage, and this is where you're seeing the contraction block shred. You know, you're not seeing any of them block, and that's because of coolness. That's because of coercion. You know, there's so many abilities working in the background here. This is also pretty cool. I'll come over, take out that last guy, and I know that I'm missing just B for continuous, so I get that free hit on Skull Crasher. Pop Call of Ice just for extra bonus, and then finish him off. Man, and clearly I was pretty damn happy about it. But that should give you guys an idea. This is how powerful Leton Superstar truly is. It took out the entire Skull team on his own with zero multi-hit abilities. Leton has no consecutive attack ability in any of his kit. Alright guys, that wraps up this video. Leton Superstar, in my opinion, is probably the most powerful and broken class in the game. You saw what I did with the entire Skull team. Imagine that multiplied by 5. In my opinion, there's certainly the possibility that Leton could do an entire Violent map in a single turn. If you did enough rotation and enough advanced superstar mechanics, you could just keep going and wipe out an entire map without anybody else doing anything. That is nuts. And what I like about Superstar is it's a true measure of a player's skill. This isn't just like, you know, putting a triangle in the, you know, triangle spot like in kindergarten and stuff like that. You do have to think of your next move and the move after that, and it can really be an amazing thing and so fun to try and do. So I really hope you guys give it a shot. It's an amazing class. With that said, if you guys enjoyed the video, as always, please like and subscribe. And follow me on Twitch. And until next time.